We need transport means to go from one place to the other, no matter how short or long the distance may be. The world is full of amazing places that require unimaginable transport channels to carry their citizens or simply entertaining tourists. If you ever wondered how you would travel to go to school or work if you ever live in another part of the world, stay with us and enjoy this top 5 most insane transport methods from around the world. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Duck Bus, London. If you're a history lover, 80 years after the Second World War, you still can get on an amphibious tank. Yes, in England you can have a tour around part of London in one of these amazing vehicles which travel on land and sea. Also known as the Ducks, these vehicles were modified and remodeled from scratch to provide a new means of transportation that also meet the strict safety standards established by the authorities of roads and rivers of the British country. These buses provide tourists and locals with the unique experience of getting by the waters of the Thames as if you were a sailor. Also, imagine for a moment how incredible it must feel to go down a street in the heart of the city and then find yourself in the middle of a river with no traffic around you. For those who get upset when they're trapped in the traffic jam, this would be like a dream come true. Children are the ones who most enjoy riding the Duck Bus. It's the perfect excuse when you need to convince them to go with you to some place they don't want to go, and that place happens to be in the route of this bus. Adults can take pictures, admire the landscape, and even if you didn't know what to do on your first date, this is a very different option. If you're a tourist, you can enjoy this ride while a tour guide explains the history of some of the most emblematic places in London. Get out of the routine, forget the typical red double-decker bus, and live this new experience. So that you avoid having a bad time, it's best to wear comfortable clothing and not to care so much if it gets wet when the Duck Bus enters fast in the waters of the river, since several people have used this method of transportation had to go back to their house or to the hotel to change their clothes. This doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it's better to be prepared for all kinds of situations. The idea is that you enjoy the trip and remember it because you spent a pleasant moment with your family, friends, or partner, and not because of the bad experience of going out as if you had bathed in the River Thames. Number 4. Bamboo Train, Cambodia. Necessity produces creativity. That's why we go to Asia now. The poor state of the roads and lack of resources didn't stop the cleverness of Cambodians, who invented a train made of bamboo. Incredible, right? Using this means of transportation to go from one village to another is a unique experience that you can't miss if you ever visit this country. Called by the Cambodians as the Nori, this fabulous invention uses abandoned railroad tracks in the French colonial era to be able to go from one place to another. Yes, we think it's an extreme means of transportation because of how unsafe it is. Forget all the trains you know, because this one doesn't look like any of them. It has no roof, fenders, or rails to hold you, and the seat is anything you have on hand to sit on. But calm down. In the worst case, you can go crouching. The board goes on improvised steel wheels that move thanks to the impulse of a river motorboat or a motorcycle. In its journey of more or less 40 kilometers, you can see the aftermath of the years of war and abandonment left. Although tourists pay €5 for the ride, this is a daily trip for local people from nearby villages. It can reach 50 kilometers per hour in speed. Without fasteners or any protection, you only have 2 options. Pray there's no obstacle in the way, or have enough strength and balance in your legs so you don't fall if it stumbles over something. If you're accompanied by family or friends, the trip will go faster. It's also an experience we're sure you can't repeat in any other country in the world. Given that it's one-way only rail, you must be wondering what happens if a train comes in the opposite direction. And here, it's when this adventure becomes more fun. As the board isn't attached to the wheels, this train has a characteristic that makes it even more peculiar. It's detachable. Then, if 2 trains face each other, the one that is least hurried to reach its destination will be dismounted. Meanwhile, users will wait patiently by the side of the road to continue their journey. And you? We bet you want to ride this new bamboo train. Number 3. Tuk-tuks, Thailand. If you go on vacation to Thailand, you have to ride a tuk-tuk. Over the years, this peculiar means of transportation has become part of its culture, the daily life of its citizens, and an experience every tourist should enjoy. These modern carriages of funny and colorful aspect are a means of urban transportation, both public and private. We can describe it as a motorcycle that has 3 wheels and a cabin with capacity for 2 or 3 people. In case you didn't know, these unusual vehicles have different names around the world. Samosa, Tempo, Trimoto, Baja, Tricycle, Moto Taxi, Baby Taxi, and Limpet are some of them. In Thai, tuk-tuk means 3 wheels, and its origin comes from a classic motorcycle model you sure know, the Vespa. It's very popular in Bangkok and other cities where traffic is a big problem for its inhabitants. So they're ideal for short trips, as they're faster than a car. If you're late for a first date or a job interview, this is the best way to get there just in time. Its retro designs from the Second World War are quite popular in the photos of tourists who visit this capital. So it's said that going in a tuk-tuk, rather than a practical way of moving, becomes an experience. If you've never ridden in one, we're sure it'll be worth it. There are only a few things you should know. Rates can vary depending on the distance traveled, the time of day, traffic, and even the mood of the driver that takes you. If you're a tourist, the trick is to negotiate the price with the driver because sometimes they can exaggerate it to take advantage of the situation. And since there's danger everywhere in the world, don't accept tours you haven't ordered or that take you to those special places to go shopping in Thailand, since you could probably be scammed. But relax, a simple no thank you will be enough to get out of that situation safe and sound. Would you dare to go on a three-wheeled motorcycle? Although many people don't like to use the tuk-tuk, now that you know more about them, when you travel to Thailand, you'll be prepared to enjoy these types of trips with family and friends. Number 2. Mototaxi, Caracas, Venezuela. Venezuela can't miss a spot in our top of extreme transportation. The mototaxi was born to combat unpunctuality and endless hours of traffic. If you go on vacation to this Caribbean country, you must know how to move around its capital in this unusual means of transport. If you're thinking of a three-wheeled vehicle with tuk-tuk style seats, you're wrong. You'll literally ride a two-wheeled motorcycle with a helmet and with nothing to protect the other parts of your body from other cars on the road. You'll have to forget you just met your driver, grabbed him very tightly, and left your shyness aside so you can enjoy the road. Mototaxis in Caracas are anywhere you look. Their orange fluorescent vest differentiates them from other riders that don't work as drivers. Getting from one place to another is known as a ride, and the price varies depending on the distance. Although it's more expensive than subway and buses, they'll take you to the place you need. Like a normal taxi, but on a motorcycle. This isn't attractive for its appearance, but for the immediacy with which you can reach your destination. A trip that may last 1 hour by car becomes an only 15-minute trip as they avoid all kinds of lines passing between cars. There's nothing to fear. These drivers are expert drivers. They're so used to the strong traffic of the city that they already know all the measures of the mirrors to go between one car and another with no problem. If you're an adrenaline lover and you like adventure, you have to live this experience. If you decide to move in a mototaxi, you must take some of these precautions. As in that country, the majority of criminals ride a motorcycle. It's not recommended to take them in the middle of the street, but in a place that's identified. Don't take your phone to record the tour because they could take it off of your hand. But if you can't resist temptation and want to show it to your friends, do it carefully. If it's raining, it's better to use another means of transportation because the wet pavement makes accidents more usual for the people traveling in motorcycles on the highways. Are you ready to go through Caracas by mototaxi? Number 1. Suspended tram from Wuppertal, Germany. If you suffer from vertigo, this means of transportation is definitely not for you. It's not surprising that the Schwebebahn is one of the most striking trains in the world, as it's the only urban railroad hanging across the European continent. Just as you heard, this incredible attraction and important German means of transportation runs along the track hanging from its rails. It was built in 1901. Incredible, right? Sure, you never imagined this new monorail has more than 115 years of construction, but despite its technology, has been remodeled since 1997. The Germans wanted to preserve its original appearance to preserve it as a historical monument that survived the Great World War II. The stations do look more modern without completely removing their original style. If you still feel afraid to use it because of how old it is and the strangeness of its mechanism, we tell you 80,000 passengers use it daily. In addition, it's incredible to know you'll reach your destination without the slightest possibility of facing traffic or any other setback. It's the perfect combination between a good experience as a tourist and the efficiency every method of transportation must have at an economic price. Without a doubt, it has a little bit of everything. The entire journey is 30 minutes divided into 20 stations. 13 meters above the Wupper River, the local inhabitants can enjoy an excellent view after a long and tiring day of work. But if you're a tourist and want to experience knowing some downtown streets from the air, you'll only have to stand 8 meters high. As a curious fact, we'll tell you that for almost 100 years, it was one of the safest means of transportation in the world until in April 1999, a serious accident took place when a convoy fell into the river by a metal nail they forgot to remove from the rails during the repairs of that weekend. 3 people died and more than 40 were injured. If the planes aren't immune to setbacks, considering all their security protocols, one accident in 100 years of operation can give you an idea of how safe it is riding this train. Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and have you visited thefinestpost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read?